Hello again, race fans, and welcome. It's a brand new era, a familiar track, but brand new cars here on VirtualRacing.Network. Tonight, the deep-throated, loud machines of the NASCAR Next Gen Cup Series, the NORA Cup Series 2023, make their debut here on VirtualRacing.Network, and for the very first time, we'll be covering NASCAR action. It's exciting at one of the best, most historic tracks, the Phoenix International Raceway. It's season number 5, race 6 of 39, 187 laps we'll be doing at the Phoenix International Raceway. So great to have you with us, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Trevor Greenfield, and we are set for an exciting evening of action out here. But first, we do need to bring you up to speed with where things are at thus far in the NORA Cup Series 2023, with already 5 races done and dusted. Let's get those points, the standings up here for you live at the moment. It will be Vincent Arthur climbing 2 spots after the first 5 races. Last race at Las Vegas, he did it again, taking victory. Can anyone stop Vincent? Well, Maybe tonight it's a different kind of track. It's Phoenix. It lays out completely different, but he's tied in the points with Brandy Moats. Brandy with just one victory to his name so far this season. And third, you can see there Brian Powell, Ronnie Norman, Matthew George. That's your top 5 in the points. Joey States, Jonathan Adkins, Matthew Hibbs. You can see the rest of the top 15 here in the points as we get set for qualifying. So let's go ahead and jump down trackside. We'll get a chance to catch up with these drivers already heading out there to put down their fastest laps. Already, Jonathan Cottle jumping up there in the Harper Motorsports machines ahead of Blade Timmons. Vincent Arthur, now last week's winner, will poke his machine up there into second place. Cameron Thompson coming to a rest there. Josh Conover for the JRC Sim Racing team, now out there on track to put in his fast laps. Let's see if we can tell what the owner of the NORA Cup Series can do here in his second lap out on the track. Is it going to be faster than 10th place where he's currently set? And so far, no, he will not be able to improve on that time, but he did set a purple sector in that first sector. Bounce over to Adam Kulikowski, one of our independents in the field. He's just completing his second lap, and unfortunately, he spins on that second lap and not able to get in a fast time. Timothy Harper, flash over to him for a second. He's just completing his second lap. Well, he won't quite complete that one. He'll put in his first lap and call it done. Matthew George here on track, just trying to put in that first lap. You can see green for that first sector. He'll try to bring it around and get that car up into the top 15, racing for Brian Powell Motorsports. Matthew George puts it up in top 5 position thus far, for Flatline Motorsports. Just getting up to speed with all these drivers and their teams. It's pretty cool field filled with great talent, great teams, a lot of great competition here. I'm looking at this driver for Brian Powell Motorsports, Brady Moats, who's out there currently putting in his first lap, and he's on a flyer. 13.47 first sector, not the fastest we've seen, but very close, 2/100ths off. What will he do? He'll put it into 6th. So Brady Moats up there into 6th position in his Ford for Brian Powell Motorsports. Take a look over here. Jacob Gladlich for the JRC Sim team out there for his first lap. Jump on board with Jacob's machine. We'll kind of cruise through this first lap here. We'll see if he doesn't pick it up for this second lap. In fact, it looks like he's not really going to throw it down there very fast as we flash on board with him. Just now picking it up on his first lap, and I think he's going to pull it in. Maybe not happy with that machine, but either way, he'll pull it in for the moment, and we'll wait to see if anyone else will get in a qualifying effort. I think that's going to do it so far. You can see John Cottle for Harper Motorsports atop the leaderboard with a stellar time, 27.27. If you believe in numerology, it's going to go well for Jonathan Cottle, but I have it down to the 100th of a second, tied with Timothy Harper. Not very often that you see that, and then just 1/100th of a second further back. It's Vincent Arthur. So Vincent Arthur, last week's winner, not going to be sitting on pole position. Your current points leader not going to be there in pole on the pole for today, but we'll watch to see whether or not he can win from third. And as we're gridding up here, let's go ahead and take a look at the grid for today's Phoenix International Race, race number 6 of the NORA Cup Series 2023. So great to be with you all, by the way, this historic evening. It's been a long time coming here as we get NASCAR action on track here. And so great to have NORA joining us for the rest of the season. John Cottle for Harper Motorsports. You see it there on your screen. On pole position. Stellar time by John. 27.266. Just behind on the outside will be Timothy Harper for Harper Motorsports. So Harper taking the front row. Second row going to Flatline Motorsports of Vincent Arthur and Ronnie Norman. Third row, Matthew George with Brady Motes on the outside. Matthew for Flatline as well, and Brian Powell Motorsports for Brady. Blade Timmons going to be starting 7th. Alongside him, Cameron Thompson. Cameron out of Harper Motorsports. Shane Weinmiller, who tonight is also the sponsor of the track and car cams. Be starting with SS Motorsports. Alongside will be Brian Powell of his namesake, Brian Powell Motorsports. Up next, Nick Gallus out of Nightmare Motorsports and Adam Kolakowski, Independent. Matthew Hibbs for Nightmare Motorsports and Joshua Conover for JRC Sim Team. Jacob Glaudelich and for JRC Sim Team and Jonathan Adkins and Brandon Dunford, Independent. Starting alongside will be Jake Christenberry for Prestige TRD. Second to last row, Jonathan Daughtry for JRC Sim Team and Chad Engel for Brian Powell Motorsports. And the final row will be Zach Hollinger for Hollinger Racing. Well, it's time to kick it off, and we are green here at Phoenix. 187 laps to go. There will be 3 stages tonight. The drivers get 5 sets of tires. You can see it's already getting crazy out there as Vincent Arthur pulls that car, the orange number 24 at the center of your screen, into the lead. From third place, John Cottle settles into second and Timothy Harper back into third. It's already 2 by 2 just behind with Ronnie Norman and Matthew George side by side for that 4th and 5th position. Just behind the 15 car there, you've got Brady Motes and Blade Timmons. Blady goes ahead, but you see the number 22 of Blade Timmons spinning and hitting the wall there. That is going to bring out our first caution of the day on lap number 2 for Blade Timmons. Unfortunate stuff for Blade in his Ford, but he will get that car back up and going. With that, we'll be able to bring you a little bit more information about tonight's race here momentarily. Once again, so great to have you with us. I'm Trevor Greenfield. You're watching VirtualRacing.Network's live coverage of the NORA Cup Series 2023, live here for the very first time, and so great to be able to do this for the full season long. So if you love my voice, you'll love it even more by the end of the season. Guarantee you that. Actually, we will be having company here in the broadcast booth before too long. So that is good news starting next week. There you can see on your screen a little bit more info about tonight. Of course, my name Trevor Greenfield. I'll be doing all the directing, commentating, and such. But Shane Weinmiller sponsoring tonight's track and car cams, and he actually creates them. You can find them over at simwrapmarket.com. So great to be hooked up with him and with Josh Conover and Ronnie. Great people, and this is going to be a lot of fun. Already starting off tonight to some craziness. You can see there on your screen, 5-mile-an-hour breeze, partly cloudy, 74 degrees in the air, 101 degrees on the track. And of course, this is the open dogleg configuration, as you saw that already came into play with Vincent Arthur being able to take that position there on the opening lap. That was some seriously cool stuff. I'd like to kind of take a look back at that momentarily if we can. We'll get our director to crunch that overtime here, see if we can pick that up for you. But either way, fantastic start to the race tonight. Vincent Arthur going to be leading this one back to green here in just about a lap or so. But If you're over in our chat room, make sure to say hello. Let us know where you're watching from. See, we've got a dozen viewers in there, and that's fantastic news. People watching from all over the globe, I'm sure. Be sure to let us know who you're rooting on, where you're watching from, as I mentioned. Make sure to subscribe if you're not already subscribed to VirtualRacing.Network. It's the one way that you can comment on these live broadcasts. Let's take a look here while we can. This was Vincent Arthur on the opening lap, getting the business done on the track. You can see as they go green, he jumps down to the inside, and that is how he stole first position right out to the lead. And so he'll be bringing it back to green here momentarily, racing for that Flatline Motorsports racing team. On board with Vincent as he gets set to go. And he'll jump on that go fast pedal. He'll be the first one on it, but Timothy Harper hanging tight on the outside. He chooses to not take that dog leg to the inside, and he will keep that second position, third to John Carl. And then we go back here and look at Brian Powell and Nick Gillis racing side by side for a moment for that sixth place. Brian Powell now taking a look, seeing if he can make his way around Brady Moats just in front of that yellow car. Brady taking that dog leg down to the inside. Back here, we've got another incident a little bit further back. It looks like is it Matthew George? No, we're seeing a couple of cars involved here. Zach Hollinger, possibly. Blade Timmons again. Getting a few different names that are popping up here. So we'll take a look at this one and see exactly what happened. Looks like Brandon Dunford involved. So this with Brandon Dunford here. And, well, we're actually probably on the best camera, but we'll go back to that chopper view there. And he just gets sideways in the dog leg, plowing into another car there. I believe that might have been Jacob. Yes, Jacob Glaudelich there for JRC Sim Team. Unfortunately, getting the raw end of that deal. He had just put together that livery update for tonight. Was looking real good. Fortunately, have to take that car back and ask the team for forgiveness. Either way, out front, he's been strong so far. He's won 2 in a row. Took it from third straight up into the lead on the opening lap. And Vincent Arthur and his Chevy for Flatline Motorsports looking strong here tonight. Going to be tough for anybody to do anything about it, but we'll see. Timothy Harper for Harper Motorsports, and John Cottle just behind for Harper Motorsports, hanging on to second and third. Cottle had taken pole position, now back into third. Ronnie Norman hanging well in fourth place for Flatline, and Brady Moats completes your top 5. And you got Brian Powell and Nick Gillis. Gillis has already climbed 6 positions, so he's not quite the hardest charger. We'll get back to that in a second. Matthew Hibbs here, 7 positions climbed. Joshua Curry for Prestige TRD climbed 3 positions. Jonathan Daughtry for JRC Sim Team up 11 spots so far. So keep your eye on this guy. He currently holds only a C license class compared to everyone else who pretty much has an A license class. But Daughtry apparently knows how to climb through the field. So as a rising star here, certainly somebody to watch as this one keeps going. So tonight we'll be having lap stages at lap 36 and lap 111. As I mentioned before, these drivers will get 5 additional sets of tires. So as some of them will make pit stops early on. Thus far, I show only 14th on back. Shane Weinmiller stopping in for 2 pit stops thus far. And behind him, Jonathan Adkins stopping in for a stop. Cameron Thompson stopping in for a couple of stops as well. So those drivers perhaps taking on changes of tires, and we will look to see any sets they might have remaining here and dig out that information out of our software. Either way, great to be with you here on this fine Tuesday evening. And again, feel free to let us know where you're watching from out there. We got a bunch of you watching around the world. So great to have you with us, and feel free to let us know what you think so far. Is it exciting for you? Yes, indeed, there are other Cup races happening pretty much simultaneous to this, but do we care? Not a single, because you know what? We got Phoenix, we got NASCAR Cups, NASCAR Next Gen cars, and we got some great action here. We're about ready to go back to green. Vincent Arthur will lead it back to green for Flatline Motorsports. He's already done so much in just one lap. He already overtook the two cars that he needed to get around. And I mean, it's been stunning work thus far. We'll see 11 laps in how many more of these cars can keep it together by the end of this one. He steps on that loud pedal. We're back underway. Vincent Arthur takes that duck down into the open dog leg, and you can see quite a few of these drivers really battling with it. Arthur taking the lead, but Cottle and Harper side by side. Cottle emerges in front of Harper, and Brady Motes now poking his nose up there. He's racing side by side with Ronnie Norman. Ronnie and Brady. Ronnie on the outside, Brady on the inside. Brady takes that long way down onto the apron and back up again. Ronnie emerges in 5th position. Brady emerges in 4th. And that's how they'll run. Arthur, Cottle, Harper, Motes, and Norman are your top 5. Looking a little bit further back, it's Brian Powell, Nick Gillis, Jonathan Daughtry, who's now climbed 13 positions. My goodness me, I just want to ride on board with Jonathan. It must be one heck of a ride coming forward in that JR Sim Team machine. There you can see some of the stats. He's battling to get up the track and already climbed 13 positions, utilizing that dog leg pretty well. Slowly trying to make inroads on that top 5 as he started all the way back in 21st. And now show that Josh Conover up here in 8th position, doing a mighty fine job himself for the JRC Sim team. Climbing 8 spots, and looks like JRC Sim team may not be qualifying right up front, but my goodness me, do they know how to put a race set together and get up there towards the front. It's pretty awesome to behold. Their Chevys holding up quite well here in the early going, getting these drivers up closer to the front. Matthew Hibbs and Jonathan Adkins racing side, Jake Christenberry in his Toyota for Prestige TRD now takes that position, utilizing that dog leg very well. Looking just behind Matthew Hibbs for Nightmare Motorsports. He's lost that position, but he has gained 4 spots so far today. Christenberry up 10 spots. So some of these drivers doing some real climbing here at the front. I'm just looking on. There's a good battle happening here for 7th place. This is Josh Conover and Nick Gillis side by side. Conover continues to march forward, holding on to that 7th spot, but not too far back. You can see Gillis starting to lick his chops and want to move forward. He's moved up 5 spots thus far. Drivers doing a fantastic job of climbing the order while still keeping it clean. But back up in front, no problems for Vincent Arthur as he now makes his way onto lap number 19 here. Not a single issue for the orange, number 24 for Flatline Motorsports. So Arthur leading Cottle here on lap 20 over Timothy Harper. The two Harper Motorsports drivers holding on easily to second and third, not really challenged thus far. But I tell you what, Brady Motes has made his way around Ronnie Norman. He's gained 2 spots so far today. So Brady, another one to keep an eye on here in that yellow number 15 car, as he is really starting to show that he belongs in that potential podium consideration. Once again, so great to be with you here as we are watching race number 6 of the NORA Cup Series 2023. Great to have you with us. I'm Trevor Greenfield here on VirtualRacing.Network. And we are just getting this one going, 22 laps in. So far, Vincent Arthur made it a heck of a show by marching forward there on the opening lap and stealing the lead. And quite a great show by being able to take advantage of that open dog leg and catch Timothy Harper and John Cottle flat-footed. Now I think it's just a game of wait and see, as looks like Cottle and Harper maybe starting to reel that lead a little bit back in. We'll have to see how that develops as we keep going. In the meantime, looking a little bit further back, it is Jake Christenberry Racing just in front of Shane Weinmiller and just behind Matthew George. George, part of that Flatline Motorsports contingency. And Jake choosing to, he's with Prestige TRD, Shane Weinmiller with SS Motorsports. These three racing nose to tail, taking totally different lines through the dogleg. And it is some exciting stuff to watch. Here's On Board with Jake, as he has a mirror full of Shane Weinmiller. Once again, these great track cams and car cams brought to you by Shane Weinmiller. Nose to tail they run. This is for 10th, 11th, and 12th place. They are so close together. You could just feel a possible pass coming on here from Shane as he does duck down to the inside. Jake Christenberry drops down to the inside of Matthew George. There it is, the 23 on the inside of the 8. And now side by side, just behind between George and Weinmiller. You can see them side by side. And it looks like it will be Weinmiller who pokes his nose up in front. As they come through the dog leg, it's Weinmiller holding on to that position. So Weinmiller dropping a couple of spots so far, but holding on tough there just outside the top 10. We take a look a little bit further back. It's Matthew Hibbs for Nightmare Motorsports. He's kind of running by himself in the Napa machine. Started 15th. He's climbed a spot so far, but looks like he doesn't have any friends to draft and play with back there. Next battle back is Adam Kulikowski, one of our independents in the league, along with Joshua Curry there for Prestige TRD. He's just in front of Anthony Mackie for Prestige TRD. About a 3-second gap there back to Anthony. And Anthony's dropped some positions so far today back into 6th. Now we take a look on pit road. That's Jacob Gladelich. He, of course, was involved in that incident much earlier on. As a result, he's 5 laps down. Cameron Thompson, similarly involved in that incident. Now dropped about 7 laps, so unfortunate for him, but no such rough luck from Vincent Arthur, who is just picking him up, putting him down, as they say. Making it look easy out there. He's so far opened up a nice old gap, 1.22 seconds back to John Cottle. Looking back in 3rd place, Timothy Harper still hanging on quite well, but he's got someone behind him. In fact, he's right into him. That was Ronnie Norman, who rubbed a little bit of paint off the fender of Timothy Harper and gave him something to think about. Or perhaps that was, no, I take it back. That was Brady Moats, who just got by with a little move around Timothy Harper there for 3rd. Perhaps we take a look at that again. Here's Moats making the move. And he perhaps gets a wheel into Harper and sends him up the track. But Moats now up there in 3rd position, gaining 3 spots. And it looked like Norman was right on it. Tried to take advantage of it. Back to the live picture now. Moats drifts up the track. Norman just behind now, dives down to the low side. Ronnie Norman move him up into 3rd. Flatline Motorsports taking command here, moving up into 3rd. As Brady Moats for Brian Powell Motorsports now drops back to 4th. Norman hanging on well here, and I have to say, well, I can. Ronnie's the one who approached me. It was just the other day, and he said, "Trevor, do you have availability over on VirtualRacing.Network?" And I said, "Ronnie, just so happens that I do." And needless to say, here we are. It's less than a week later, and we are doing coverage for the NORA Cup Series for the rest of the year. That's how fast it comes together. And good on Ronnie. Been a pleasure to work with so far. Got me all the info that I needed. And, of course, hooked me up with Josh Conover. Josh now racing back here for that JRC Sim team side by side in that 42 machine. He gets around Timothy Harper, who's having all kinds of troubles up high. He slipped back from 3rd. Now he's in 6th. Might be something wrong with that machine. See if we can tell what's going on with that machine. In fact, we have an incident at the moment. I'm not sure who it is for. We'll have to see. Is it Daughtry? I'm not getting a picture on who it is at the moment. It could be for Jonathan Daughtry. Not seeing anybody who is currently sitting sideways or having an issue on track, but Daughtry off on lap number 32, and this being lap number 37. We'll have to wait and see. It's possible somebody spun off camera. We just couldn't quite pick it up in time. But either way, good chance for us to watch some pit stops as they head on down pit lane. A lot of these drivers for the very first time. If we can get a pit camera, actually follow them down there. You see Vincent Arthur, your leader, John Cottle, Ronnie Norman, all these drivers for the very first time on pit road. Watches Brady Moats, perhaps going to have to do some damage repair. A little bit of optional repair, possibly. John Cottle momentarily overtaking Arthur as he is in the pits there. Watch these drivers as they emerge, and they take their left side tires. Battle off pit road is Matthew Hibbs, of course, stayed on track, but it's Vincent Arthur who emerges in front just as he went in, and Ronnie Norman will take over just behind Vincent Arthur, so managing to get some positions in the pits there, just snagging a position from, looks like Brian Powell having that difficulty earlier and slipping back. Now all of this is going to allow Ronnie Norman to form up in front. Now we're seeing Matthew Hibbs dropping into the pits to get his pit stop done, and of course collecting bonus points for leading a lap. But he will have to rejoin at the back of the line. So just to recap here, you're watching VirtualRacing.Network's ongoing coverage now of the NORA Cup Series 2023. This is our first ever race, but you'll be able to find them all coming up very soon on our playlist right here on our YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe. Of course, you can find us over on Facebook and on Twitter as well. And of course, you can also find us in the Discord for the NORA Cup Series. So for any of these drivers out there that next week will be getting in some of their more important information, like their hometown and their age, if you haven't sent us that information or posted that in the Discord, make sure you get that in there so we can get all that stuff updated for next week. Meantime, pretty happy to get just about everybody's team name and colors and everything sort of squared away for this week, and everybody called correctly. Vincent Arthur, though, gonna have to play with Ronnie Norman on this start because Ronnie has been climbing up and looking and salivating at getting up there into this lead group, and now he's there, and I think got the bit between his teeth. So his teammate there at Flatline Motorsports might just perhaps, well, he could be a good could be a good wingman and hold off the competition, but something tells me Ronnie wants to taste that lead at some point. Either way, looking back, it is Timothy Harper who does manage to pull himself together, get up there into that third spot. He'll be battling alongside with Brady Motes here as we get going. And of course, Brady has already shown that he's not afraid to put a wheel in there and try and get the job done. So you got to kind of take that into account. If you see Brady dip down into that dog leg, just how close do you want to run him down the track? That is something to consider. And we are green once again. It's Vincent Arthur who steps on the loud pedal the fastest, but it's Brady Motes who responds even quicker than Ronnie Norman can, and we're 3-4 wide behind. Timothy Harper, Brian Powell side by side. You got Josh Conover, Shane Weinmiller there as well side by side. So a lot of these drivers choosing to make this a battle right off the bat. Ronnie Norman back to the outside in the number 33 on Brady Motes. Ronnie Norman back into second position. Brady takes that dog leg cutoff. Brady not able to reclaim that second position. Ronnie hanging it high on the outside. Really riding that high groove, and he'll get the run off the corner. You can see Ronnie's favorite sandwich of choice there on his tailgate. Looking back. And now Ronnie choosing to take the dog leg instead on this lap. So changing it up a little bit further back, side by side, Timothy Harper and Jonathan Adkins. And just this last time by, fastest first sector for Ronnie Norman, fastest second sector for Vincent Arthur. So the Flatline Motorsports teammates, you can see, pulling out a nice, healthy gap. And Timothy Harper in that third position, hanging on. Jonathan Adkins, what can be said about this guy? 14 positions gained here today. Where did he come from? I mean, he's just been gaining spots. We didn't even see him. It's kind of like that gray camo blending in there to the background. But the number 57 climbing 14 spots and getting the job done. That's the main thing. Brian Powell, hopefully he got some of that damage fixed there. Now we see Josh Conover has moved back up into the foreground. So Conover of 10 spots into 6th for the JRC race team. Conover having a great run today. Once again, just all these drivers hoping that it works out in their favor towards the end of this race. Lap number 46 right now. And of course, we are going to be going. We did have lap number 36, so that was the reason for that caution. We'll have our next one at 111. I apologize, nothing flashes up on the screen that tells us that it's the stages, so you probably caught it before we did. But either way, lap 36 was our first stage, and second one will be 111. Vincent Arthur marching out there to a healthy lead over his teammate at Flatline Motorsports, Ronnie Norman. Over 9/10, coming up on a full second now. And then you got to go back a full second even further, make that 2 seconds to Timothy Harper. So, my goodness me, the Flatline Motorsports teammates really pulling out an advantage here. And certainly Harper at Harper Motorsports is going to want to close that gap if he's going to have a shot at these front two here towards the middle part of this race. But Jonathan Adkins has, as I mentioned before, this driver has been climbing the ladder, and he's done it consistently from the beginning of this race. He started in 18th, climbing all the way up into 4th, and he's got that Chevy purring. Is he going to have something to say for Timothy Harper here momentarily? Adkins following so closely down to that apex. Really got to watch how far you dip that tire down there, but he's willing to take that car down as far as it can go. And you talk about cutting the dog leg. He's taking every inch of that dog leg that you can. He's trying to get the rest of that gap up into third place. And he's been looking at the back end of Timothy Harper for about half a dozen laps now. Moving back a little bit, it's Josh Conover all the way up into 5th. He's gotten around Brady Motes. This was just a moment ago. We'll take a look here. This is Conover getting around Motes in the 42, getting by the yellow 15. Get around onto that backstretch. Pretty good stuff here so far from Conover. Now Conover pulling out a nice gap over Motes. So Josh Conover for JRC having a really nice night. Looking back a little bit, there's Motes and Powell now getting into a bit of a scrap. Powell for Powell Motorsports really would like to get maybe around his teammate there for Brian Powell Motorsports. Because it looks like Brady has kind of been backing up a little bit. And now we've got another yellow. It's Nick Eilis, who's having an incident. He's setting it across the track for Nightmare Motorsports, whose good day has just kind of turned into a little bit of a nightmare, if I do say so myself. Forget the pun. But Nick does recover there. Let's go ahead and jump back, take a look at what happened. We're also seeing that possibly Brandon Dunford involved. Oh my. Well, let's take a look a little bit further back and see if there was maybe a little bit of contact here as they head through the corner. There's the 45 machine of Adam Kulikowski. And no, it looks like Nick just kind of got sideways on his own. In fact, Kulikowski not really even making contact, so pretty much a self-caused incident. So I'm guessing Dunford, I'm not sure if Dunford had an incident here, but take a look anyway and see if we can get over to him. Barely here. This car sideways. In fact, it is not. And what that is just a reaction to Guylis being sideways, and unfortunately a little bit of overcorrection there, and that put Dunford into the inside wall. We'll see if we can get on board and see how he reacted in that incident. Indeed, just try to get on the binders. Independent, unfortunately, kissing the concrete. And So now he'll head it into the pits along with Anthony Mackie, and they will take tires, fuel, get a little bit of repairs done. We'll get this one back underway in a moment. Stay tuned. You're watching live here, iRacing's NORA Cup Series 2023 on VirtualRacing.Network. We'll be right back. And welcome back here on lap number 57. We're about ready to get this one back under green here. It'll be Vincent Arthur bringing us back to the green flag momentarily. None of the top drivers back to about 13th position, maybe 14th position. He chose to come in and take tires or fuel this time. So they're going to put it all on their next stop to have to do that. And I think these drivers would know better than me whether it was worth it or not. Either way, back to the green flag. It's Vincent Arthur leading Timothy Harper, who gets the jump on that start over Ronnie Norman. And now they're too wide, 2 by 2, back from second. It's Harper, now Adkins up into that third position. He's gained 15 spots here today, racing side by side with Ronnie Norman. Norman and Adkins side by side heading through the corners. And now Adkins settles a little bit further back. It's Powell that's going to have to settle in there for 6th place. Although now he's racing side by side with Motes. So now Cottle will drop back. He's dropped 6 positions from where he started. Not such a good restart there for Cottle. He's back to all the way back to 7th place. Brady Motes, after that adventuresome start to this race, is now up in 6th place. That's where he started this race. But back up front, it is Vincent Arthur, followed by Timothy Harper. Harper into that 2nd position where he started the race. Ronnie Norman reclaiming that 3rd position that he took with authority not that long ago. Just behind the man who has been pushing hard, that is Jonathan Adkins, climbing 14 spots thus far in that 57. I'll double check and see that he's not with the team right now. He joined late, so he probably is with the team. We just didn't get him into that list, but I don't. I do see he is an independent. So, in fact, we'll make sure that we get that updated. But he is an independent driver coming through this field like a hot knife through butter. Trying to work his way now around work his way around Ronnie Norman for that third spot. Norman having none of it. He's tasted a little bit of success getting up there into the podium position, and I think Ronnie wants to have his chat with us here at VirtualRacing.Network's post-race discussion live after the end of this race. I think he wants to get one of those interviews, be able to thank some of his sponsors and whatnot. Always a pleasure. So stay tuned after the race. We'll get some good comments from our podium finishers and possibly others in the league. Find out what they thought of tonight's race. Tell you what, this guy, he has nothing but good things to say about this race so far. He's done nothing but good things. Vincent Arthur, 2 wins in a row. And I mean, he's just looking solid. I've been watching every one of these turns. Look how much work he does on this wheel. It's so smooth. Just really not much extra work put in. And you know, you save all that extra effort. You put it a little bit more into being calm, collected. A little bit of correction there off the corner, but see, you can catch that when you're not having to fight the car every single lap. You're just nice and smooth into the corners. That orange 24 for Flatline Motorsports is just getting it done each and every lap. Timothy Harper in that 12 machine, doing nice. Kind of running by himself here. He's got about a second gap up in front, about 0.7 of a second back to Ronnie Norman for Flatline Motorsports. Ronnie's looking good. He's climbed a position so far from where he started, up into that podium group. And of course, real reason why he's there is because other drivers have a little bit of a coming together. John Cottle from Harper Motorsports. Well, Cottle now sitting very close to his good friend Brady Motes, back just behind, so Cottle will have to go through Motes to get up into that 8th position. Cottle having that issue a little bit earlier on, and now finding himself back there. Look a little bit further back. This is Joshua Curry racing for Prestige TRD. He's back in 14th place, and you're wondering where Nick Eilis was after that incident, that self-spin. Well, here he is. He's in 12th, so managed to recover okay. He's still on the lead lap. And we've got the 77 car into the wall. That's Jonathan Daughtry for the JRC race team, or JRC sim team, and he will now get it going again. Jump back here, see if we can catch what happened. I'm just guessing he took it a little shallow there into the corner, gets it sideways. Ooh, nails one of those entry cans that protect pit road. To see if we can watch that one more time on board. Not for the faint of heart. Ooh, goodness. Would you like to tap one of those things at about 120 miles per hour coming through the corner? No, thank you. So, that being said, we now have a bunch of cars heading down pit lane, starting with your leader, Vincent Arthur. So the procession begins again, this time the leaders choosing to take the stop and get their service done on pit road. John Cottle, Timothy Harper electing not to, so they will take over the lead of this race. And the race off pit road, these Vincent Arthur, Timothy Harper, Ronnie Norman, Shane Weinmiller, Brian Howell, Josh Conover, John Cottle, Brady Motes, and Jonathan Adkins, your 2nd through 9th. Top car right now is Nick Gillis, and that's because did he take a pit stop? He did, in fact, take a pit stop. I show that he did pit with this group. I just figured that he stayed out with that earlier pit stop that he made. But, in fact, he did. However, he only shows that he was on pit lane 47.9 seconds compared to Vincent Arthur's 56.68. It's very possible that he either underfilled with fuel or he simply only took right side tires, as is an option, and that allowed him about a 10-second faster stop, and as a result, he was able to get out in front of everybody. So well done to Nick Gillis, who now takes over as our hard charger. Up 12 positions thus far, and has effectively stopped. Same lap that everyone else has, and perhaps that's the move of the race. We'll have to find out. Of course, the next stage coming up on lap 111. That'll be our second stage of the night. And Gillis having a really good run even other than that. Of course, to even be in position to make that pit stop and get up there, he did have that half spin, but besides that, he held it together and put himself in position to get up there into the front. Timothy Harper and Vincent Arthur, currently your top two besides Nick, so I guess I'd make that second and third. Now, having a fantastic run, Harper actually qualified in second. The moment he squeezed back up into second, but I believe it was Arthur who, well, actually, they're going to say Harper is going to be in second place as the base truck moves in. So move Harper back up into second and Arthur back a position into third. So well done there to Timothy Harper, who managed to get it done on pit road. That crew over at Harper Motorsports getting it done. Nick Gillis leads us back to the green flag, and Vincent Arthur already snags that position on the inside from Timothy Harper. Side by side heading back. And now Arthur trying to take his nose underneath Nick Gillis. And he's already managed to do it. He's taken the lead once again. Gillis kind of just a sitting duck out there right now. We look a little bit further back. There is a caution out. And once again, I do not see who it is for. Anthony Mackie. He's quite slow on the track. I do see a little bit of smoke ahead of him. Brandon Dunford has stopped on the track. So let's take a look and see if it's Brandon who brought out this caution. In fact, it is number 43 car getting sideways. Now, did Brandon get a little bit of help? Well, it's the Ferris sponsored number 77 that, Jonathan Daughtry saw his way into Brandon Dunford. Perhaps, maybe it was the other way around. Either way, the two coming together, causing a big commotion, and thus making the flagman unfurl his yellow cloth sticks and wave them around furiously. So we're under caution once again here at Phoenix. As they say, cautions, they do what? They breed what? They breed cautions. So we will be right back after this one. Stay tuned here on VirtualRacing.Network. And welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network as we get set to come back to green. Just checking in over on our YouTube chat room. We've got Steven Dombrowski checking in, letting us know Ronnie Norman 33 get that W. I bet he's trying really hard right now. The Steven out of Ohio. Josh Conover even checking in, letting us know, hey Trevor, guys with the O are drivers for owners points. The rookie symbol and guys with nothing like Vincent are Cup Series title drivers. And Georgia Reynolds saying, Trevor with a big heart. Oh, big heart. Back to you, Georgia. So great to have you with us here watching live on a Tuesday night. And we are back to green here as Vincent Arthur takes it back to the front. Timothy Harper just behind. Brian Powell, Nick Eilis going to be battling it out there for fourth place, along with just behind is Shane Weinmiller and Ronnie Norman. Ronnie, got to get up there. You got fans in the stands, my friend. They're looking on to see that W and see that big trophy in your hand at the end of the night. I think he knows what needs to get done as he marches on by the machine of Nick Eilis. We see a little bit further back, we've got a whole bunch of cars choosing to take that dog leg, creating quite some chaos. Ronnie Norman back into sixth, though. And Josh Conover in seventh. John Cottle back into eighth. Conover back around Ronnie Norman, who continues to lose position. So Ronnie Norman now battling hard with Conover on the outside. Two good friends that certainly don't want to see anything end in tears. And you've already got Brady Motes. He's already been poking his nose up into things, and he takes out, my goodness me, he moves up and takes out John Cottle and Josh Conover there. And we continue under green. Oh my goodness me. Ugh. What can be said other than heartbreak for Josh Conover, who was racing so well there, but I think we'll possibly not see the end of that one. Towards the end of this race, we might see some penalties applied, but either way, up there in the front, it's Arthur and Timothy Harper who are first and second. Brian Powell into third, and now we're seeing a couple of broken machines. There's Cottle, who's pulling it down into the pits. We've got Josh Conover heading down into the pits, and I believe I saw another machine kind of waddling down the front straightaway. See if I can figure out who that is. I think it's Anthony Mackie for the Prestige TRD machine. No, perhaps not. Maybe it was Kulikowski. But either way, there was a machine, and now I think we're possibly seeing, is that Daughtry? Yes, so it was Daughtry, that 77, that was waddling down the front straight. So he'll try to get some damage repaired, and unfortunate turn of events for him, but we stay green here. And we've got a heck of a battle happening just a little bit further back. That's Shane Weinmiller and Brian Powell fighting it out for third on the track. Weinmiller, besides being a fantastic racer, also the sponsor and creator of these track cameras that you're now watching, and the onboard camera is supplied as well. So once again, head over to simwrapmarket.com. That's SIMWRAPMARKET.com. Get yourself these cameras today, as well as imagine paint jobs and all kinds of good stuff. Need a new lid wrap or something? Probably head on over there and say hello to Shane. Let him know we sent you here on VirtualRacing.Network. Vincent Arthur continues his reign of dominance here in the NORA Cup Series 2023. I mean, he has pulled out 2.4 seconds over Timothy Harper, and he is relentless in stepping on that gas pedal. So much so that it's looking like it's just about Vincent Arthur and everyone else out here. But nevertheless, race still a long ways from being over. Anything can happen. And Harper, Weinmiller, Norman, and Powell make up the rest of the top 5. Weinmiller still trying to get up there and snag that second position. And Norman has battled back, gotten back into that 4th spot. He's worked hard. So Ronnie Norman, this was just a moment ago, getting by Brian Powell for that 4th spot. Kind of drifting up the track a little bit. Powell backing out. Move Norman up into that spot once again. Meantime, Josh Conover sitting on pit lane. Fortunately, looks like his afternoon has come to a close in terms of the competitiveness. He was having such a fantastic run for that Wendy's machine. And unfortunately, I have to park it, have a Frosty in pit lane, because, well, Rubbin's racing, I suppose, but how much rubbing you can do? Well, the fine line between Rubbin's racing and having to get out the old red card. But we'll have to see how that one works out in the long run. Shane Weinmiller, he's got the big O in terms of next to his name. So Weinmiller, part of the owner points category. You can see just behind Timothy Harper. So Weinmiller now up into that second position, having snagged that from Harper. Let's take a look at that pass. This was just a moment ago, while we were looking at Conover. Weinmiller safely, securely delivering the package into second place. And just a moment ago, this was Jake Christenberry getting around Matthew George. Takes a late charge there into the corner, the 23 machine. The DoorDash on the side pod. A little bit of gig work there possibly for Jake, but certainly something that I know all too well. Too many years, my friend, behind the wheel, schlepping McDonald's and Wendy's and all the rest to different parts of America. Perhaps those days are over. Perhaps not. Never know what the future contains. Either way, Timothy Harper in that 3rd spot. Ronnie Norman in 4th. And my goodness, Norman really close to this battle between Harper and Weinmiller. So although Vincent Arthur has escaped off the front by over 3 seconds, it is very close here for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Weinmiller has to keep an eye on Harper. Harper going for that dog leg. Weinmiller for SS Motorsports up there in that 11 machine, now sliding backwards as Timothy Harper moves up in front. Harper continuing to take that dog leg. It worked well last lap. Why not take it this lap? Lap number 85 now we're working on towards lap 111 when the end of that second stage will happen. So Vincent Arthur could walk a mile off the front, but we will see another caution on lap number 111. Either way, Weinmiller, Norman, and then Powell is another 1.3 seconds back from that conversation. Adkins, he had climbed all the way as high as, well, he was in 4th, trying to get 3rd for that last caution, and now back into 6th, but still, I'm 12 positions so far today, having a great run out there. That gray and purple machine looks spectacular here at Phoenix as we're possibly gonna see some sunset action pretty soon. Say right around a virtual 1 o'clock 30. Probably won't get to sunset this evening here at the virtual Phoenix International Raceway, but continues to stay pretty warm on the track, 99 degrees Fahrenheit. The March 13th, so the real life date, minus 1 day, but real life date, very close. 6 mile an hour breeze. It's picked up a little bit. Still stays partly cloudy out there. And of course, it's in the desert. And I love this track. I've been here a couple of times in my life. Enjoyed NASCAR. Sit up on the hill. One of the great pleasures of doing something different at a NASCAR facility other than just sitting in the stands. And one of the most unique venues, and certainly it's been made even more unique by the reconfiguration, flipping it around backwards. And now you see Adkins kind of trying to get a wheel up on Powell. He's working him lap after lap after lap after lap. And now Adkins makes his move, the 57 down to the inside of Powell. He'll try to hold it down there for 5th place, and he does. Not quite done and dusted yet as Powell stays hard on the outside, but he'll have to concede that position. At least for that lap. He stays, though, to the outside. Adkins can't quite shake him. Powell in that 37 is just hanging on. Side by side they remain, as they have been for the last couple of laps. This is some amazing racing here. Side by side racing for 5th position on the track. Lap number 102. And once again, about another 8 laps or so, and we will be at our caution for stage number 2 completion. So Jonathan trying to get that pass done, and he can't quite do it. He has to back out. Well done to Brian Powell at Brian Powell Motorsports, hanging on the outside, keeping that position. Back up in front, though, it's Weinmiller who's dropped back to 4th, and Ronnie Norman has moved back up into 3rd, excuse me. But this was not that long ago. We saw it on track. Ronnie Norman making the move. Down to the low side on Weinmiller. Gets it done in a single pass. Now that's the way to get it done, you know. None of this side-by-side stuff. Just make a big move and take that position. Got Nick Gillis in the pits, though. So choosing to stop a little bit off strategy here. I don't see that he had another incident or anything like that. Always possible they scrape the wall or something and decide, I need to take a pit stop here. Flashing by the orange machine as he heads down the straightaway. It's Vincent Arthur who continues to lead here. So we're now on lap number 105. Just another 6 more laps in the books, and we will be at our end of stage number 2. So Arthur followed by Harper and Norman, with Weinmiller and Powell just behind in 4th and 5th. And we'll have to see if that's how it's going to end up for this stage. But what more can be said about what Vincent has managed to do here today? He has truly dominated these first couple of stints, these first 2 stages. And I mean, it didn't start off in his favor. He didn't get the pole position, but he very quickly took control on the first lap. And then other drivers managed to get up there. Nick Gillis managing to get up there in front, and others for a moment. But Arthur very quickly marching back forward, taking that lead and not looking back. He's hung that car out there very well. Now I'm seeing Timothy Harper kind of blinking out a little bit there, so possible internet connection issue, but either way, back underway. You always hope that it is just a momentary blip. Never really know if it's on our side as broadcaster, their side, or what. But the scary part is when they blink out for a long time, and then they come back onto the track, and people don't know where they are. Or, even worse yet, is when one of these drivers has to lose out because their connection completely disappears. And yes, as realistic as this looks, it is virtual racing, and that kind of thing can happen. Matthew Hibbs there in the Napa machine, unfortunately going down a lap. See Vincent Arthur having to work through that. Now, he's given up a lot of that lead now. I'm not sure if that's all because of having to work around Hibbs or not, but Harper now just under 0.3 of a second back, and we still have 2 laps till the end of this stage. So could Harper have something to say about this stage victory? Harper making his move down to the inside. And here we're on lap 110. Harper getting a run on Arthur. And just about 3/4 of a second back is Norman, who's actually beginning to close. He's now down to about a 1/2 second back. So Harper getting stuffed up here by Arthur as we hit lap number 111. And that's going to do it for the end of stage 2. Arthur, Harper, Norman, Weinmiller, and Powell, your top 5 for the end of stage 2. My goodness. Well, that kind of changed there. I was just singing all kinds of praises to Vincent Arthur, saying how he looked like he couldn't do anything wrong at all. And, well, you saw it there. It looked like Timothy Harper was just about to make his move on Arthur. I think Harper might have even been a little surprised with how quickly he caught Vincent Arthur. But either way, Harper and Arthur going to be battling for this one in the late stages, as all these drivers now going to take advantage, or most of them anyway, going to take advantage of this stage caution, bring it down onto pit lane. And we're going to keep the feed live here. You'll be able to watch it live on your screen. We'll take a break, and we'll be right back with the start of stage 3. and welcome back as we get set for Stage 3 and the end of this one as we work our way towards the end of round number 6 for the NORA Cup Series 2023 here live from the virtual Phoenix International Raceway. It's such a great facility it is. Of course, the great IndyCar, the great NASCAR, fantastic racers over the years all have won here. So many great names to list. The who's who list of the fantastic racers of the past. Will it be Vincent Arthur who will put his name on that list? Will it be Ronnie Norman? That's how they start. Back side by side, Brian Powell actually merges in front for a moment of Ronnie Norman as they're now side by side. Norman on the outside, Powell on the inside. Stacked up just behind, it's Weinmiller and Adkins. Weinmiller in that FedEx paint scheme. Blue and white on the outside, the gray on the inside, Adkins. And there you can see also Brady Moats in the picture. He's poking his nose up there into that top 3 contention. Once again, we all know what happened last time Brady was up there. Let's see whether or not we can keep all of our fenders on the car this time. It's Adkins up into that 4th position. He'll take it from Weinmiller. And side by side they continue as Moats now on the low side underneath Weinmiller. Powell just in front. In the meantime, that's given the 2 flatline boys a chance to escape off the front. Vincent Arthur and Ronnie Norman now dominating once again, and that is much to the chagrin of these drivers just behind because they've got to do that much more catch-up time. And we've got a driver sideways back here. I think it's Jake Christenberry having a moment, having to collect himself. That was some scary stuff. See if we can jump back and see exactly what happened there for Christenberry. This was just a moment ago. Like he was working on the low side on Shane. And I don't know if he quite got up into him or not. But either way, he managed to correct it, get everything back going again. Back up at the front, no problems for Vincent. Well, last time we said that, there were problems for Vincent, so maybe we should just keep our big mouth shut. But Vincent continuing here to look as good as he did on the very first lap. Great way to open the stage. And he's well on his way to victory, but still 66 more laps remaining. Jake Young checking in over in our VIP chat room over on our YouTube channel. If you want to be part of this action, head on over, subscribe. And you can let us know who you're rooting for. Jake says, let's go Ronnie and Timmy. So, definitely guessing that he's Timothy Harper. Ronnie Norman. Ronnie's over at Flatline Motorsports. Timothy Harper over at Harper Motorsports. So must be good friends for him. Either way, rooting on his friends. Always great to have people checking in. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and you hit the notification bell thingy and you like this, and you'll get all the future NORA Cup Series races delivered right into your inbox. They'll say, hey, you can't miss it. This is what's happening. You're gonna miss the race of the century if you don't make it out to the NORA Cup Series right here on VirtualRacing.Network. No, I guess it's as good a time to announce as any. If you haven't heard by now, which pretty good chance that you have, if you're in with the people in the know. But either way, we've got exciting news coming your action. We will be officially broadcasting the NORA Truck Series, which gets back underway again next Monday night, same time, 8:30 Eastern time. So mark it on your calendars. You don't want to be anywhere else. Monday and Tuesday nights. And certainly Matthew Hibbs would like to be somewhere other than where he currently is, which is sitting sideways on the front stretch. Hibbs took the dog leg just like everyone else, but took a little bit more of a circuitous route to get through that dog leg, including going up and kissing the wall. And that will send us into another caution. Let's see if we can see how it looks to go through such a ballet dance as Hibbs just did. On board with the Hibbs Nightmare Motorsports. I'd say Nightmare is having a nightmare of a night, but it's been a couple of difficult. Goodness, it never is pretty to hit that wall. There's just no way to do it in a gentle way. But unfortunately, that will bring out that caution, and we do have Arthur and Norman continuing around, Adkins continuing, Weinmiller, George, etc. But Harper bringing it in for a pit stop. Brady Boats, Brian Powell is electing to take on some that play a role. Possible. 13 laps difference. So you never know. I mean, you got 5 sets to work with. If you feel like you got an extra one in the tank and you want to lose a little bit of track position and take a chance, of course you can. Shane Weinmiller, he's now electing to do so, perhaps a lap later than everybody else. Matthew Hibbs making that way down pit lane there. Jacob Glaudich still out there for JRC Sim Team. Dropped quite a few laps. But hey, you know, give a big hand to Jacob and to Josh. You know, I'm kind of a lot like them. I don't care if I'm 10 laps down. I mean, even if it's official racing, it doesn't mean anything. I'm not collecting points or anything. I'll still go out there and try and get to the end of the race, as long as I'm not going to be a hindrance to the leaders. They're going to come around lap me or something. But when you're in league racing like this, you know, if you drop 8 laps, 10 laps, hey, just the same way as in real life, you gotta grin and bear it, and just put in the laps and get the points. Why not? It's all part of racing. You can't win them all. Can't get top 5s. Can't stay on the lead lap of all of them. Sometimes you gotta just fight it out from behind and see how much you can hang on. So they're doing that exactly. Got it, like I said, hand it to Josh Conover, Jacob Bodelich, Brandon Dunford, all these drivers still out there putting in the laps. Caudle, though, choosing to call it a night, and Guyless also choosing to call it a night. Actually, he just sits there on pit road, moving. Brandon Dunford still moving around, though. And back up at the front, Vincent Arthur has put on quite a show tonight. I have to say, it's been pretty exciting to watch him do what needs to be done lap after lap, keeping that car up there in the lead. Is he going to be able to do it for another 50-some laps? Well, stay tuned to find out. Arthur's going to look to take us back to the green flag. Let's go on board with Arthur, see what it's like to be riding around in that roll cage with Vincent Arthur. So Arthur having no trouble once again, except it's Jonathan Adkins that moves into that second position. Up 16 places thus far. This guy is incredible. Absolutely storming to the front. Now, I happen to be able to see the I rating of these drivers. So that might kind of give it away. But Arthur, a 5284 I rating, which is a stout, healthy I rating for sure. I mean, that's some good stuff. Jonathan Adkins, 4131, so no slouch here on the iRacing service, and clearly knows how to get it done, coming all the way from the back. Now we take a look a little bit further back. This is Shane Weinmiller, who made that stop under yellow, took on new tires, now starting to come back forward, but he is back in 10th position, so he's going to have a long way to come back all the way up to that podium territory that he once was at. Jake Christenberry also taking on tires that time by, so same situation for him. Back up at the front, though, I'm not sure, if I was Arthur at right now, I mean, he's put in so many clean laps. He's really not made any mistakes. He's basically taken on all challengers at this point. He'd be thinking that he'd be feeling comfortable, except for one thing. This guy, Jonathan Adkins, has gained 16 positions and now sits on your gearbox. What do? Jonathan Adkins on the march forward here on lap number 134, trying to make it an Adkins kind of night for the independent race team. I'm just calling it an independent race team because, I mean, it's hard to believe that he has no affiliation with any of these other teams right now. If I was one of these team owners, I'd be doing anything I could to get this guy on board. But Adkins, absolutely in control of that number 57 machine. Those purple gloves, magenta gloves there, working exceptionally well to grip that steering wheel ever so smoothly. And you notice how tight down to that apex he gets it. He has to ride the car a little bit off the corner. I guess he likes it a little bit looser than Vincent does. Vincent riding a little bit higher in the corners. My goodness, Jonathan really brings that car down on entry. You can see the two very different lines between these drivers. Now, it's possible they do alter it on different laps depending on what the car is doing. Very low entry into the corner for Adkins. You can see him starting to chase it up the track a little bit, but he seems comfortable with that. A little bit of correction. That diamond shaping turns 1 and 2 a bit. 3 and 4 brings it all the way down to the wall. Dips the tire in on turns 3, on turn 3, and rides the car out in turn 4. But is it going to be enough? This very aggressive line strategy, will it be enough to take Arthur out of that lead position? We continue to watch on. Meanwhile, a little bit further back, it's Ronnie Norman. He slipped about a second off of this lead battle. Big gain of position so far tonight. Still having a great run of it. Just behind this side-by-side battle here, Harper on the inside over Moats. Harper now looking to see if he can get back into this contention for this podium position. Harper dropping 2 spots here since the early going. Moats settling back there into 5th spot in that yellow 15. But this battle is getting even closer at the front. We may have a pass here before too long. Arthur and Adkins at it again. Is this going to happen? Adkins getting right up on that rear view. And you can see him there in that rear view mirror. He's getting dangerously close. If you're Arthur, you're wondering, is this guy going to come up and tap my bumper? I don't know if he just tagged the outside wall. It's possible he snagged it a little bit. It's possible seeing Adkins there that close is starting to worry Arthur just the smallest amount. These two now nose to tail here as we start on lap number 142 of 187. Just 45 more laps remain here in this one. Adkins starting to size up Arthur for a possible move. Now starting to work that wheel underneath Arthur. Give him something to think about. Meanwhile, Ronnie Norman sees this little bit of battling happening. He's starting to close in. We'll keep an eye on that one. Ronnie Norman now about 4/10 of a second back of this battle, but starting to clip into this lead and possibly make this a three-way battle for the lead here. Arthur starting to grow now about 2 car lengths over Adkins. Adkins, though, still within reach to try to make this a pass. And Norman continues to close now, under 3/10 of a second back there to Norman. Harper about the same distance back. About now 5 car lengths back to Harper. And Moats has cooled off of this battle. He's back in 5th place, but he's well back. Over a second back of Timothy Harper now. So we could have a 3-way, possible 4-way battle for this lead before very long. But so far, it is Arthur who has managed to hold his car out there in front, and nobody has been able to try to make a move on him. But we do have a move starting to shape up just behind. Here comes Harper. Puts his nose down on the inside of Ronnie Norman and move Harper up into that 3rd spot. And now just in front, it's Adkins who makes his move down to the inside of Arthur. Arthur still holding tough on the outside. He'll hold on to that lead by only so much. Here comes Harper to make it a 3-way battle. 3 different teams now up in the top 3. You got Flatline, Jonathan Adkins, who's an independent, and got Harper, the namesake of Harper Motorsports. Anybody's battle here. We've got 4 cars less than a second apart for the lead. And here comes Harper. Harper all the way down to the inside. Going to try to make a sneak move on Adkins. And he does. He makes it stick. Harper up into that 2nd position. Now racing side by side with the 57 of Adkins. What a heck of a move to pull the dog leg and make a sneak move on Adkins. Probably the only way you're going to get that pass done on Adkins. And now is Harper going to take that same move to Arthur? He is. And they race side by side here. Timothy Harper now to the lead. Vincent Arthur, who had it in control for so long, now having to settle back into 2nd place. Looking a little bit further back, that is Arthur, but it's side by side between now Adkins and Ronnie Norman. You have to wonder who's burned off their tires at this point. Has Harper just peaked at exactly the right point, or has he used up too much of the tires? It looks like Adkins struggling a bit, and he's going to pull it onto pit road for the last time here today, and that will drop him out of this league contention for the moment, but we'll see how this all circles around. You get the track map up here functioning for you so you can get a little bit more information. And not under caution, of course. We are under green, but that's just how our software works. There you can see Harper with, is that Moats? In fact, through my notes here, that is Moats, who has now gotten up into 3rd. So Harper having a moment while we were looking away there and slipping out of this lead. Let's go back and see how that went down. This was Harper a moment ago, getting it very loose coming through the dog leg. And that is how close it comes. Harper having to recover, and now Moats coming around Ronnie Norman there, trying to make the pass stick. Down through turns 3 and 4. So Moats now he's just been all over the racetrack. He's been up and down. He's been involved in some crazy incidents already, and now he's got that car, the yellow 15, up into second place for Brian Powell Motorsports. So currently Arthur, Moats, Norman, Harper, and George, your top 5. Matthew George now back into 5th where he qualified, but quite a ways back on this one. So, I mean, he's about 3.4 seconds, but every time I say somebody's out of this battle, they seem to just come out of nowhere and march up into the middle of it. So we'll see. But Vincent Arthur, oh my goodness, he has managed to weather all storms here so far, as we're now working on lap number 154. Just 33 more laps remaining. Will anybody be able to make a pass and make it stick on Arthur? That's the question. Oh my goodness me. Back here a little bit further back, the side-by-side battle between Adam Kulikowski and Brian Powell, Jake Christenberry. Kulikowski and then Christenberry settling in. Powell having to settle for 8th. And actually, here comes Shane Weinmiller there to deliver the message. He's up there into 8th. So Weinmiller recovering from making an earlier stop and taking on tires, having to lose some track position. But Weinmiller now back up into 8th, so good for him. Christenberry and Kulikowski, see there in the 45 on the outside. Looks like these two continue to swap positions, and Christenberry again carrying my DoorDash on the car. Tip your drivers well, folks. Just tip your drivers well. You know, you give $5 here, $10 there, you overpay for this, you overpay for that. That guy is out there in his own car with his own insurance. He's running that car into the dirt so that he can go to Cracker Barrel and get you your dinner and bring it out to you in the stick somewhere, and you didn't even leave the porch light on for him. Tip your driver $10 or something. You know, just be one of those people. Sorry, end of rant. Back to the action here. Look who's emerged into the lead while we were focusing on other things, and we're now under caution. Ronnie Norman has crashed. We're looking back through the field there. What happened to Ronnie? Ronnie followed Vincent Arthur as Brady Moats got by. Brady Moats got by, and then it looks like Ronnie just got a little too low on the apron, slid it sideways, and that will bring out our caution on the day. That is, let's see, that's our 9th caution so far. So, nowhere near a record, but super fun nonetheless to get to come down pit lane once again. Here comes Brady Moats leading the train down pit lane. And it looks like Brian Powell perhaps going to stay out there. Nope, pull it in. I guess it's just our lap cars. Jonathan Adkins, Josh Conover, Jacob Vladelich, Brandon Dunford who are going to stay out there. But Brady will pull it in from the lead. We'll see whether he can hold the lead here coming off of pit lane. And Ronnie only lost 1 position in that, so really not the worst scenario for somebody spinning, you know, doing a half spin. We watch to see who will be first off pit road. Looks like Brady will get it done. Vincent Arthur going to be 2nd. Timothy Harper 3rd. Jake Christenberry 4th. Matthew George in 5th. Once again, back to the live picture here. Brady involved up and down this order, but managing to get that pass done. See if we can go back and get a good shot of that one. Past Timothy Harper for first. Oh, this was on, excuse me, this was earlier on pit road. And if I can locate the pass, there we go. So this was the pass on Vincent Arthur for the lead. Brady Moats got his Quickie the Bunny energy on board. Looks like he got a little sideways there in the corner. Either way, pulled off that pass and made it stick, so he will be the one to lead us back to the green. And just 27 laps remain until we come back, or until we close this one out, so stay tuned, as this one is set for an exciting finish. And we get set to come back to the green here. Just going to be 26 laps remaining for these drivers to get it done. Brady Motes, everybody's got fresh tires and fuel. Brady Motes possibly going to take victory here in the yellow number 15. Will it be Timothy Harper? Will it be Vincent Arthur? We're back under green here at Phoenix. Shane Weinmiller now back up in that consideration for a top position as well. Here comes Arthur on the backside of Brady Motes. Arthur racing for Flatline Motorsports. He's surrounded by Brian Powell Motorsports and Harper Motorsports. 5 different teams. 5 different teams in the top 5. Exciting stuff to see such representation. Just behind, it's Timothy Harper, Jake Christenberry, Shane Weinmiller, and Matthew George. And we've got the 2 leaders into each other. It looked like Brady Motes got a little sideways, and Vincent Arthur managed to tag him, and now Arthur sits sideways. What a tragedy for Arthur. My goodness, you just hope you can get that machine going here. Real life, you'd be worried about stalling it, but not a problem here on the iRacing service. Does get it back going again, and now he has to get all the way through 11 cars to get back up to the front. Oh my goodness me. Well, see if we can tell exactly what happened on that one. So let's take a look here from Vincent on board with Vincent Arthur, and it looks like Brady Motes had a little bit of help there. Oh my goodness. Vincent tried to apply a little bit too much pressure, and unfortunately that decided things for Vincent. And fortunately, though, it doesn't look like it hurt Brady at all. Brady kind of got a little sideways, but he recovered. He continues. My goodness me, though. There, Vincent will pull it down onto the pits, into the pits, and he will take possible repair. Probably take some tires. I guess maybe he didn't take tires last time by. Entirely sure. But Brady survives one there. Could have ended up in the wall. Could have ended up a lot of different places. There goes Josh Conover taking a lap back towards the good. Him cruise on down the road. Brady Motes leads Timothy Harper and Jake Christenberry, Shane Weinmiller, and Matthew George. I have no idea whether it's going to look that way in 23 laps. Things changed so much, and it looked so much like it was going to be Vincent Arthur for so long. Um, oh, that's why you go out and you race the whole race, I suppose. Great to have all of you with us here live on VirtualRacing.Network, our inaugural race, both for the NORA Cup Series and our first time doing NASCAR content here on the network, and it has been a blast so far. I love this track. Love covering these cars. Look, I love driving on iRacing. It is so much fun, but I'll tell you what, these cars are a handful, and my hat is off to any of these drivers who can manage to keep it straight for this many laps in a row. It is anything but easy to do. So we get some more check-ins here. Jake Young letting us know, indeed, Ronnie and Timmy, good buddies of his, doing broadcasting, and glad they found us doing great broadcasting. Hey, thanks. Great and broadcasting and VirtualRacing.Network are three things that typically don't all go together, but we appreciate you saying so. Jake, hope you're enjoying it out there. Hannah Vasco saying, let's go, Brady Moats. Well, you got him out there into the lead, so keep up your cheering because it's working. And Jake Young says, shake it off, Ronnie. Rub some dirt on it. No, I added that part. But definitely, you gotta rub some dirt on it, shake it off, let it go. I mean, Ronnie back here now in 9th place. And unfortunate stuff for Ronnie because he was having a fantastic run up there, looking at 2nd, running in 3rd, and now you find yourself back in 9th. Well, I suppose it could be worse. It could be Vincent Arthur right now, and kind of kicking yourself because you got really nobody to blame except him for that one, except, well, maybe I don't know the whole story, but Vincent's got to do a lot of work coming back from 12th place, and certainly got the speedy machine to do it. Will he be able to in 21 laps? We'll have to watch and see. How about Jake Christenberry? I mean, he's had a great run, but to see him up there in 2nd place, I think he heard that when I was saying tip your driver well, he said, yeah, I like that. Get some better tips for those DoorDash drivers. There he goes. Up there into 3rd. Timothy Harper into 2nd, and we've got Shane Weinmiller around with Anthony Mackie, and it looks like possibly Josh Curry. Still more battling happening. Brian Powell in the wall. Joshua Curry suffering there. Well, as they say, cautions breed cautions. Cautions give us fun replays to watch. So let's go back and check it out from what happened. Let's use Shane Weinmiller here, and we'll jump on board here. Shane Weinmiller. Oh, looks like he may have gotten tagged from the number 54 of Anthony Mackie. We'll look at it from Mackie's point of view, and I'm not sure if it's going to look any different, but let's check it out. Going to go through the dog leg, and I think there was a difference of opinion there. Weinmiller thought Mackie was going to go through the dog leg, and Mackie wasn't going to go through the dog leg, and Weinmiller decided to try the dog leg anyway, and it didn't quite work out for him. Either way, let's take one more look here as Brian Powell unfortunately had a moment, and this is on board with Powell with Power Motorsports. And, oh, just almost got by. Dead. Got tagged. Oh. Big hit there. Do hope all these drivers are okay. Anything can happen. Oh, and it does look like El Presidente may have had... Where's the beef? I'll tell you where the beef is, unfortunately. There's the beef. Big hits. You know, you got... A lot of these drivers have these direct... they have these... Their steering wheels are so powerful now that, you know, you got to take the steering wheel out of your hands. It's like a real life car. You're going to hit that wall. You got to take the wheel out of your hands. Direct drive wheels, I was trying to think of. And, it could really hurt you. I've heard some bad stuff. So, you know, if you're going to hit that wall, take off the wheel for a second. Oh, big hits there. But either way, Brady Moats still out there in the lead, and Steven Dombrowski checking in, letting us know, keep the momentum. You got this, Ronnie. And hey, I'm right there with you. Ronnie Norman got back up into 5th after that one. He saw a little bit of attrition in front of him, and he's going to follow that DoorDash driver up there into the front. Why not? They know how to get there. Always the fastest ones. They know how to get through the drive-thru the fastest. Get you your food the fastest. Tip your drivers well, folks. Okay. Back to it. Brady Motes going to be leading us back to the green here momentarily. One more lap to go. Timothy Harper going to be starting in 2nd. Matthew George. We really haven't been talking about Matthew. He's been very quiet, but he had gotten up into 5th before that last restart, or taking advantage of that attrition. Now finds himself in that 3rd position, so definitely has a chance to challenge for that podium position. Kristen Berry, he's been up in the front there. Got the big D on the hood. Climbed 16 positions so far today. Our biggest climber thus far, Ronnie Norman, and then Matthew Hibbs. Hibbs had a moment earlier in that Nightmare Motorsports machine, but he's climbed all the way back into 5th, or 6th, I guess. Depends on pulls ahead of who at the start here. But Brady Motes for Brian Powell Motorsports is the one you got to keep your eye on. He was trying to get up there in the beginning, drifted back, got back up into the front, and then he pulled off a miraculous pass, and he's been able to keep that position. Brady gets a good jump on it this time. We're back underway here at Phoenix. Starts to fall in line behind. It's Harper. Kristen Berry has managed to move a position up. There's Matthew George in the midst of it. And Vincent Arthur. Where is he? He's all the way up into 6th. Are you kidding me? Well, I guess that 5,284 iRating comes into play at some point, but now he's following Ronnie Norman down there on the low side through the dogleg as they approach Matthew George. Arthur on the inside of Matthew George for 5th. So is Arthur not done with this one yet, as Timothy Harper now manages to claw forward in front of Brady Motes for the lead. Just a moment ago, we take our eyes off the ball. We've got, is it Arthur sideways? In fact, it is. He's backwards now, bringing out the 12th caution on the day. Commentator curse for certain. We're just singing him more praises. And he goes and does this. Vincent Arthur taking the dog, like, you know, that's shades of another driver earlier who had the same issue. Just got it wrong coming through the dog leg, and you know, Arthur's done it so many times already that he knows the right way through there, but it must have caught him a little off guard coming through. Might as well watch it one more time here from his perspective and get a chance to see what it's like to do a whoop-de-doo at 150 miles an hour. Oh, life flashing in front of your eyes there momentarily. Not sure who that was that went by. I want to say it possibly was Shane Weinmiller. So let's watch it from Shane's point of view. This ought to be something else to watch here. Watching up in front as Arthur gets it sideways. Ooh, that's how close it was to a catastrophe for Weinmiller. I mean, a crash at that speed would have severely damaged that car, but instead just narrowly avoiding incident. So Arthur now pulls it onto pit road. Back to the live picture, deciding to take tires, and he won't lose the lead lap. Neither will Brian Powell, now on pit lane, and Joshua Curry. Curry is actually significantly off. Powell is 1 lap down, and Curry is 7 laps down at the moment. So we are under our 12th caution here tonight. Why, I remember all the way back on the 9th caution, I said it wasn't the record. seen more. Well, we've added several more. We're not done yet. 11 to go here, folks. Adam Kulikowski right now pulling it into the pits. He's going to take some tires this time. Anthony Mackie deciding that he wants to take some tires. And Brian Powell now emerges back out. Hugh Harper still shown in the lead of this one over Brady Moats. Really, yeah, I think it is over Brady, but Kristen Berry has momentarily surged forward. So we'll be back in just a moment. Stay tuned. And the pace truck pulls into the pits. Question in YouTube is, when do you have time to pee in a long race? Well, I mean, you got a driving suit, so I don't know. You just go if you gotta go. Either way, you gotta go if you're Timothy Harper, and he steps on that loud pedal. He gets in front. Brady Moats having a moment. He's now sideways, and that will bring out our 13th caution. So that's how fast that changed for Brady Moats. He was looking at a top 2, and now he's looking at recovering from 11th place. What did it look like from Brady Moats' point of view? Well, we'll find out here. That's the wall. That's my friends. There's the wall again. And I think we need to back it up just a little bit more than that. So we'll go from the green flag here. This is the green flag from Brady's point of view. Kristen Berry on the outside. Timothy Harper just in front. Moats does not want to lose Harper, so he gets up there, and he's really close to Harper as they get down onto the dog leg. And I just want to say that's probably the same issue that caught out Vincent Arthur earlier and another driver. I believe it was, I think back to who that was that wiped out earlier doing that exact same maneuver. But either way, I want to say it's too aggressive pulling down onto that apron, and it's like upsetting the car. And I think that's what, let's see here. Apron is deadly. Ronnie Norman. Ronnie's got the YouTube feed going in one hand. He's got probably his favorite beverage in the other. And he's got the wheel in the other hand. And, you know, got his leg participating in there somehow. But he's typing away. And he says, this apron is deadly. And you got it right. Got to be careful when you do these ones. When you dip down onto that apron or hit that dog leg. So, the question from Kamikaze Von Boom is, how do you get paid by PayPal or what? You want to drop us some coin? Hey, we'd love it. You could hit the subscribe button if you're not already. That's a big plus. Then you get all the future races, and you hit the like, and you do all that stuff. But if you want to go one further, you could send some coin over to VRN at VirtualRacing.Network is our PayPal address. If you do that, we will send you big hugs and kisses over the air. complimentary of the iRacing service. We greatly appreciate it. And certainly, do we get paid to do these broadcasts? Yes, of course. It takes time, money, effort, energy, internet. All of that kind of stuff has to fuse together. But I tell you another cool thing that we can do. If you want to sponsor some of these races, we certainly can put that together. And we can get your name out here as the race title sponsor. You want to dedicate it to your favorite charity, we could do it on their behalf. There's a lot of cool things that we can do. So if you'd like to participate in that way, you get in touch with me. VRN at VirtualRacing.Network is the email address for PayPal or communication. You can get a hold of me on Discord. Or, of course, you can stop in and see the NORA Cup Series administration. That'd be Josh Conover. You can certainly talk to and be happy to set you up with some race sponsorship, possibly some series sponsorship, if you're into that sort of thing. If you want to get involved, certainly can. You want to be a racer out here, get your coverage on Tuesday nights for the rest of the season, you're going to want to apply over on iRacing, and you want to certainly talk to Josh Conover about getting out here for the races. But back under green we're going to go. Just 3 laps remain this time by. Timothy Harper and Ronnie Norman going to start this one off again. Matthew George in 3rd, Jay Christenberry in 4th, and Hibbs going to be in 5th, I believe, or Weinmiller, and Vincent Arthur still part of this battle somehow on the lead lap. That orange car still in the mix. Ronnie Norman in 2nd. We're back under green. Marching into turn 1, it's Timothy Harper holding that position. However, it's dicey back here, a little bit further back. Christenberry, George, Weinmiller, Kulikowski now side by side with Hibbs. I have no idea how Hibbs recovered. I can't even fathom how he has managed to get that 9 car back upon to not only the lead lap, but there he is running in 6th position. Back out front, though, lest we forget, it is Harper, Timothy Harper for Harper Motorsports, who's recovered, now taking the lead and not looking back. And Ronnie Norman says, you better look back because I am right behind. White flag this time by for Timothy Harper. 1 more lap remains. Will Harper be able to pull it off? Ronnie Norman takes a shot at it. He's going to try to dip that wheel down there through turns 1 and 2. He can't quite get the run that he needs. Christenberry settling in there for 3rd. George in 4th. Got to go a ways back to find another driver battling it out. And this time by, it is going to be none other than Timothy Harper, who takes victory here at Phoenix. My goodness, what a finish it was. Harper takes victory here at Phoenix. Well earned, as he dropped so far down the order, and now finds himself in victory lane. Congratulations to him. What an astounding race. So Harper here doing donuts, as you can see, on the track. And thus far, he's only had 1 top 5 previous to tonight. So no wins. I mean, Harper, this has been a while coming. And he's going to take a... I don't know if it's still politically correct to say. I was going to say a Polish victory lap. Forgive me if that's not correct. But either way, pulled that car around and did a couple little donuts there. Ronnie Norman taking 2nd place, and Jake Christenberry taking 3rd. Stay tuned momentarily. We'll have your results for you and some post-race discussion right after this. So there you see it on your screen. It is, in fact, Timothy Harper who takes your victory, followed by Ronnie Norman in second place, John Christenberry in third. And of course, if any of you are out there listening to this, make sure to make your way over into the Discord interview waiting room. And we'll be happy to pull you in here for some post-race discussion. But Harper for Harper Motorsports taking victory by a very slim margin after that late race caution. Ronnie Norman in second for Flatline Motorsports, and third to Jake Christenberry. Fantastic run from those drivers to stay solid there at the end, to get up there and take the podium. Christenberry for Prestige TRD. So 3 different teams representing the top 3. Matthew George holds on to take 4th. That's one better than he qualified. Shane Weinmiller, tonight's sponsor of the track cams, as you saw here all night long. The track cams, the car cams, provided by simwrapmarket.com. Make sure to get over there and get your cams and wraps today. Matthew Hibbs taking 6th, Adam Kolakowski taking 7th, Brian Powell in 8th, Anthony Mackey in 9th, Brady Motes in 10th, Vincent Arthur taking 11th position, Joshua Curry. You know, I gotta say about Arthur, and Motes for that matter, both of these drivers at one point looking at a win. You just gotta walk away from this one scratching your head and really gotta try to figure out how to come back from this one. It's a rough go here to end up all the way back outside of the top 10. Curry finishing in 12th. Josh Conover, he got taken out earlier on and never quite recovered back up into the top 10, but Conover doing the thing, the honorable thing, and getting out there, getting some more laps in. Jacob Gladelich finishing there in 14th. Brandon Dunford in 15th, Jonathan Adkins in 16th, and Adkins, another one of those drivers, my goodness, 38 laps down, but you wouldn't know it. He fought so hard today and was so close to tasting success. Nick Geilis as well, he was up there in position, but, you know, it's interesting. Got to be there at the end of lap 186, and unfortunately for them, they had incidents along the way. John Cottle, same thing, back there in 18th position, qualified so well, ran so well early on, but unfortunately found himself towards the back. And then to complete it, Jonathan Daughtry for JRC, Cameron Thompson, Blade Timmons, Chad Engel, and Zach Hollinger. Zach, Engel, and Timmons not really getting anything going here tonight, fortunately for them. So with that, we're going to take a look over into our post-race discussion area and see if we can catch up with our top 3 here. So we'll start with Christenberry. And hey, Jake, what a fantastic... Hello, my friend. Can you hear me?
Yes, I got you.
All right. Well, what a heck of a run you did here tonight. Just absolutely phenomenal run from 20th position. And then there you were right at the end in perfect position. You saw some other cars diving out of your way and having incidents, but tell us what your race was like to get all the way up there to 3rd.
Very hectic. Very, very hectic. Start at the rear. I really didn't have a plan, just to stay clean most of the race. I got up front a couple times and tried to avoid incidents and kept getting pushed back, and just stuck my nose down and got up there and finished third. It was a fun race for sure.
Well, fun race, but still, you had to survive some various incidents. Now, talk us through, we saw a lot of drivers utilizing that dog leg to their advantage. Did you feel like that was the way to go tonight? Take the dog leg? Was it, were some drivers taking it too aggressively? How did you feel that it worked into tonight's strategy?
It definitely played a good part, especially on the restarts. I felt like after the first couple laps of a restart, you were just kind of stuck. But yeah, I think if you really wanted to make a pass, you had to be aggressive and take the dog leg. So it worked out for some, but I do think some people were too aggressive, and I think it showed.
Definitely showed, and yeah, you managed to hang on tonight. It was a long race, 186, and you certainly you had plenty of cautions to think about your strategy. Where did you end up with the strategy at the end, and was it ultimately the right call? Did you think you had anything that you could have gone after Ronnie and Timothy?
I don't think so. I mean, I think the bottom's where you wanted to be. I took the top a couple times there on the following restarts, those last restarts, and it just didn't work out. So that final one, I knew I had to be on the bottom, and I was trying very hard, but just didn't have enough.
Now, pit strategy was also another factor. At what point were you making a decision? Did you decide I just want to take right side tires? Was that part of your strategy tonight, or did you take 4s each and every time?
I took 4 every time, but that last green flag run, I did think about taking 2 tires. If it was going to stay green, I just thought I could maybe do that and get some track position, but we got that last yellow, so I didn't end up having to do that. I was able to get 4 tires and hang up there.
Absolutely fantastic run tonight. Now you got DoorDash on the car. Do you just like the car? You support Bubba? What's your affiliation, or do you run DoorDash?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like both. I like DoorDash, I like Bubba, so it just kind of worked out, I guess. And I don't know, pretty cool looking car.
Certainly cool looking car. Appreciate the signage out there. Anybody else that you like to thank before we move on?
I'll give a shout out to I think Josh Curry. I think my teammate, he pulled in the top 10 there. So it was Anthony Mackey. Sorry, Anthony Mackey there pulled in the top 10 for the team. So I'll give a shout out to him.
Absolutely. Well, always good to do. Pull in your teammates, but certainly the top runner for Prestige TRD, Jake. You had a fantastic run here tonight. We'll look forward to seeing you next week, my friend.
Thank you.
Absolutely. That was Jake Christenberry, hot off the track there in 3rd position. And I mean, he gained 17 positions tonight. Absolutely scintillating stuff. Held on there at the end for a great 3rd place finish. And now get a chance to chat with our 2nd place finisher. And what a fantastic run he had. He was all the way up. He was down. He got caught up in that last incident, and it looked like everything may have gone to naught. But Ronnie, our first chance to chat together, by the way, congratulations on 2nd place, and great to talk to you finally. But secondly, what a heck of a run you had. How did you manage to get all the way back up there to 2nd?
It wasn't exactly what I had in mind to do in the first place. I was really hoping to get a green flag pit stop in there, but just kind of got on the yellow line, and it's a little greasy down there, and it spun me right around. Luckily, nobody was coming, so unfortunately backed it up, ruined pit strategy, ruined everybody's pit strategy for sure. But yeah, I know, like I said, it's great to get in here, get a top 3 for the first broadcast in here, and yeah, like I said, it's nice to finally talk to you as well. So, but yeah, no, it was like that apron was very scary to try to race on, and luckily when I did spin out and I was able to get back up there, I went really low on that restart whenever there was an incident where the 2 cars got into it, and definitely jumped 3 or 4 cars there to get back up for that next restart, so that definitely helped out. So yeah, no, it was a long race. Glad to get back up into 2nd when I was running up there, but no, we'll take this one and move on to next week for sure.
Yeah, sometimes, just being at the right place at the right time at the end and sticking it, staying strong at the end is the place to be. You had cars diving off left and right, crashing in front of you, but either way, you held it tight tonight, Ronnie. Now, what was that strategy all about? Some drivers choosing to take that dog leg, some even like Vincent. He was running out front all night long. He took down to that dog leg, and it just absolutely wiped out his car. You had the same. Were you just trying to be too aggressive onto that dog leg, or what was it exactly about it? Because others were able to do it like all night long, and it didn't make a big difference.
I think it was a little bit of a, I don't know. It just depends on if people are shifting when they go down there. I know I wasn't really trying to shift too much. You want to get through the bumps before you really click up into the next gear. For me, I would only go down there like on the first few laps of a new run. I didn't like going down there with old tires at all. I'd go down the little dog leg there, kind of going around the corner. But yeah, no, if you're past 10 laps, 15 laps into your run, you definitely don't want to go down there. So yeah, it bit Arthur Vincent for sure. It was unfortunate because it's a teammate of mine. So, yeah, because we were running up front for most of the time, and then there toward the end of the race, it's gone whenever you don't want it to be. But yeah, no, I don't. I just planned on just not running it as much. But when you got to go down there toward the end of the race, you got to do what you got to do. And when the laps were winding down, it's all go. There's no letting up anymore.
Well, nevertheless, at the end of this one, you do have to look back on it, even though Vincent's going to finish outside the top 10. Had to have been a really nice thing to be looking at you and Vincent out in front, you kind of being his wingman behind for a lot of the first and second stint. And, you know, it looked real good for Flatline Motorsports for a good deal of this race, very much in control. And even though Vincent went away, you still ended up with 2 drivers in the top 5 between yourself and Matthew George. So, you know, a good night overall for Flatline, but something maybe you can regroup on and build on for the future.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I don't know if anybody else was doing it or not, but for like those long runs, because you were shifting here, but for the long runs, I was just staying in 5th gear the whole time, and I think it kind of helped out with tires rather than getting on it and running down your left rear or right rear, whichever one you wanted. I can't remember which one went down faster, but yeah, no, like I said, for the long runs, I was not shifting. I was trying to save my stuff as much as possible, and I think you've seen a lot of that whenever me and Timmy caught Vincent there toward the end of that stage and tried and gave him a run because we were coming, but we just ran out of laps.
And that's sadly the story. You just run out of laps. You know, even if you can claw in and try and get up there to that leader, once it hits that white flag and checkered flag, it's all over. You got to pack it up and head off to the next one and think about whether you could have possibly gotten a little bit more out of Timothy tonight. But he had a heck of a machine. He runs the Harper Motorsports, and well, you gave it your all tonight. But Ronnie, a heck of a recovery to come all the way back up into second, and you made it a great run for Flatline. Congratulations tonight. Anybody else that you want to thank before we move on?
Yeah, I appreciate it. No, I just want to thank FanDuel Sportsbook and Subway for being on the car. I think I got Menards also there going down the quarter panel. So thanks for them being on the car. Congrats to Timmy and Jake for 1st and 3rd. I want to appreciate you and VirtualRacing.Network for coming in here and broadcasting these races. We really appreciate it. From what I can see, it's flawless broadcast. So it's going to be a fun year, and hopefully we can just build off of this and get some people in here to enjoy these races. Hopefully the cautions kind of simmer down going to Atlanta next week. So it's going to be a super speedway-esque type race. But yeah, like I said, that dog leg just kind of got us a lot tonight, and hopefully we can cut back on cautions and we can have some fuel runs and green flag pit stops and put on some good shows here.
You betcha. That was great, Ronnie. So congratulations on 2nd place. We'll see you next race out, my friend.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
So that was Ronnie Norman checking in with us from 2nd place. Heck of a job by Ronnie to get back up there into 2nd. He thought he had something for 1st as well. And also he owes a big thank you to Steven Dombrowski, who stopped in and gave him some good cheering from the YouTube chat room. One of his good buddies as well. So now that gives us a chance to focus our attention on the actual true man of the evening. It is none other than your race winner, Timothy Harper, who's going to join us here in Victory Circle. Timmy Harper, you know, my friend, let me tell you, that was one heck of a run. I mean, we saw you up there. You were fighting with the lead anyway. You made it a 3-way battle, then a 2-way battle for the lead. But I mean, when Vincent finally got excused from the lead, you held on to that lead position and you put Harper Motorsports into victory lane. A heck of a great job tonight, my friend.
You hear me?
I got you now, my friend.
All right. Yeah, I appreciate it. I wanted a long run, but it kind of worked out for us there.
And I mean, well, you know, talk about that, because I mean, sometimes you do get long runs. I mean, the first stage, 2nd stage, there were some real long runs in there. And of course you did. You slotted right up there in the top 5. But of course, you know, you started in 2nd, you had to face some adversity, you fell back a little bit, and then, you know, there was a lot of cautions in this race. So how did that affect your strategy getting back up there into the lead? And did you think that you were going to have to go straight through Vincent Arthur in order to be able to take this win?
I definitely thought Vincent was going to be the one to battle up there until he got something happened to him. And the first stage, I thought I was saving my tires pretty good, and then I got ran into the back of and kind of messed me up for that stage. And then the second stage, at the end of the stage there, I was catching Vincent from like 2.5 seconds back or something, and I knew right then I could do it on the long run, and that's all I wanted for the rest of the race. But it eventually worked out, and kind of worked out in the end where I didn't need to save my tire. So
didn't need to save them too much. Didn't have to face too much of a battle from Ronnie or Jake there at the end, because you did get off the line and you did manage to get to that restart nice and sufficiently. So nobody really able to challenge you there at the very end for the checker. But I mean, it was a challenge all night, and certainly the yellows came into play. But what did you think of the dog leg? How did that help you? Did it hurt you? Did you feel like it cost you at any point? How did you utilize the dog leg tonight, and would you do it the same next time?
On a later run, the dog leg, it kind of gets loose when you hit it. But I think I got loose one time when I hit it and I saved it. And but I kept hitting it every once in a while. On a short run, I would hit it every time to gain a little bit of time. And I don't know, it was just a matter of if you're on old tires or new tires. So.
Well, you managed to do exactly what it took. Whether you hit the dog leg, you didn't, you stayed off just long enough to take that Harper Motorsports machine up there into victory lane, and it's got to feel good. You hadn't had a win this season. You only had one top 5 to your name, and now for you to take victory here, that's, like I said, it's got to feel great. Unfortunately, you're the only Harper Motorsports machine that's up there in the front. A lot of your other teammates suffering some adversity here tonight. But what do you think? Does this speak well for you and your chances here in this championship going forward?
Well, I'm running this car for owner's points, so I'm running full-time in the truck league that we've got. And but I will be able to run this car in the owner's championship now, and it's just been I'm glad I finally got the win, because the past weeks at Auto Club I feel like I had a good car and I got in some trouble, and then Las Vegas I had a good car and got in some trouble, and I'm just happy it's finally coming together here. So hopefully we can get some more this season and see what we can do.
Absolutely. Well, we've got 2 pretty exciting races coming up. As you mentioned, you'll be running the Truck Series. We'll be covering that as well, making that announcement tonight, and you can look for that very shortly on our social media. We'll be covering that next Monday night, so we'll look forward to covering you over there as well. But next Tuesday night, we'll be back at Atlanta Motor Speedway. That's always a fun one, the high bank there at Atlanta. And then the following week, it'll be Circuit of the Americas. So will you be able to join us for both of those? And what do you think of those 2 races and your chances?
Yeah, I'll be running them. Atlanta is just kind of like a super speedway now. So, I mean, you never know. I'm just going to probably try to hang back and save the car for the end of the race. And then Coda, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm good on road courses, but I'm not terrible. So hopefully I can just get a top 10 out of that one. So, but we'll get a lot of practice in and see what we can do.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations to you. Anybody else that you want to thank tonight before we move on?
And I want to thank you for putting on the broadcast. I've heard it looks amazing. I can't wait to watch it. And I want to thank Josh for putting on the league. And I want to thank my mother and just my family and all that.
Absolutely. Well, great thank you to you as well for putting on a class show tonight. Harper Motorsports up there into victory lane. Timothy Harper, congratulations. Enjoy your victory. We'll see you again next week on Monday night for the trucks.
Appreciate it.
That's Timothy Harper. He took victory here tonight for the NORA Cup Series 2023 for the first time. And, you know, it's like a shark in water. You taste the blood. You taste the victory. You want more. So will he be back next week at Atlanta? You already heard him. He said it's like a mini super speedway. Well, you'll have to join us next week at the same time on the same channel. Make sure to subscribe to VirtualRacing.Network. and you'll get all of the future NORA Cup Series 2023 action delivered. Want to make sure to tick that little notification bell and like this video if you haven't already. Want to say thank you myself to Morgan Paviel, who also says that I was doing a good job out there tonight, and lots of you joining us in the chat room. It makes it so much fun when you do and you root on your favorite drivers. It's so great. So we'll look forward to seeing you next Monday and Tuesday night right here on VirtualRacing.Network. On behalf of the whole NORA crew, this is Copyright 2023 VirtualRacing.Network, and we'll look forward to seeing you next Monday night. Congratulations, Timothy Harper and Bronny Norman and Jake Christenbury, your top 3 from Phoenix. So long, everybody.